What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. We have been beaten 1-0 at home to Bournemouth in a really, really poor performance today. I'm here with Josh King. We conceded 5 minutes in, and that kind of just set the tone for the whole game, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was such an appalling display. I'm shocked by how poor it was, because you would have thought at some point in the game we're going to have a period where we're on top, or we're peppering them, or we're putting them under pressure. Mm-hmm. I guess it's similar to what we did to City last week. They kind of did to us this week.
Yeah.
They kind of was relentless. They kept us at arm's length pretty much the whole game. They were aggressive against us. And we had no answers today, did we, Josh? It was just absolutely shocking today. I'm so disappointed.
Yeah, same. Completely blindsided. I feel like this is a bit of a reality check. Mm-hmm. I think I was getting a bit too excited about where we were going under Frank and some of the signings we've been linked to, and Xavi Simons and all that sort of stuff. I think this has shown me that we still have major problems, and it will, it will be a struggle to maybe get it'll be fantastic if we can earn any kind of European spot this season, because there are major problems. In the first half, as soon as the game kicked off, we looked a little bit bright for the first couple of minutes. We had that Sarr cut back to Richie, or he just missed it or whatever. And I was thinking, all right, we're doing all right here. And then within for the next, I'd say 80 minutes, we were just completely outclassed. Our midfield it seemed so open. It seemed almost like an Ange performance.
Yeah, it was odd, wasn't it?
It was so open. I'm no tactical genius or anything, but, their manager really did a number on us. And what surprises me is how he knew how we were going to play to nullify us so badly. But, yeah, been awful. The only players that come out of that game with their head held high are Van der Ven and Vicario, I would say.
Yeah, and the worrying thing is in the other games, I feel like as the game's gone on, we've gotten more of a foothold in the game. Frank has noticed things within the game that he can improve, and I think against Burnley, against City, even against PSG, apart from maybe the last 5 minutes, there were times in the game where you felt, okay, we've got a real foothold in this game. Even though there were parts earlier in the game we didn't have control, we grabbed control of these games. But it seemed as though going 1-0 down early, he was asked a different question today. You're now faced against a team who got the advantage. They're going to look to exploit you on the counter-attack. They're going to look to leave the space, exploit the spaces you're leaving when you're going to try and force the issue. And it seemed as though we had no answer to it. We had no answer to what Bournemouth were chucking at us today. They were brave. They were more aggressive than us. They were the ones winning the duels today. They were the ones coming out in the second balls. They were causing us havoc on the wings as well. Semenyo causing us all sort of trouble. They were playing. They had a midfield three of Adams, Scott, and Tavernier, and they bullied us in the middle.
Yeah.
They were bullying us in the middle.
Yeah.
Bentancur, Paulinho, Sarr seemed lost in the middle today, all over the shop. They weren't getting man to man. We couldn't even get close to them.
Yeah.
We were trying to press them like we pressed City last week, and we failed miserably. It seemed as though Bournemouth had a way of just continued playing through us, which we had no answer to. Rishi wasn't holding up the ball like he has done in the first two games. Kudus was absolutely atrocious on that right hand side. Johnson was he was basically his usual performance but without the goal. He was giving the ball away every single time. We had no one looking to play the ball on the half turn. Maybe before Bergvall came on, who was doing it a bit. Before he came on, we had no one willing to do it.
Yeah.
No one willing to try and get in behind them, trying to ask a different question, winning their one-on-one duel. It was like last week we were playing man-to-man to Man City, and maybe that surprised them a bit, playing very high up a lot of the time. Romero and Van der Ven tracking their strikers all the way to their own penalty box, and they didn't like it. They didn't want to win their one-on-one duels, and Bournemouth did that to us today, and we had no answer to it.
Yeah.
We had no quality, and maybe it was just maybe it's the difference with when you get a Simons in there, he's willing to get on the ball and show for it and drop his shoulder and open up the pitch. But we had no one doing that today. Absolutely no one. The link up on the left-hand side between Spence and Johnson, non-existent. Porro and Kudus as well. They weren't getting any sort of advantage down the right-hand side.
Yeah.
They were the worrying thing is I think even early on in France's tenure, there's been obviously times we haven't been creating chances and we've looked stodgy on the ball, and I think that's been evident. That first half against Burnley wasn't too dissimilar that we saw today. But one thing you could be sure of is we're going to be solid defensively, not giving away simple chances.
Yeah.
But today we saw none of that. They were creating chances at will, absolute will, and if it wasn't for Vicario, it would have been 3 or 4 easy today. If it wasn't for Vicario having a worldie. He had an absolute worldie today, Vicario.
I haven't seen the XG, but that was a 4-0 game to me. Like, as in, Bournemouth easily could have scored 4. And the worry is, like, what was making us so open? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the problem here? We're playing the same midfield. We've got the same defenders. Areola just did a number on him today. I really don't get what it is. For me, this is what I was talking about when I was saying before about how, I want to see how Frank does against these sorts of teams, because this is where even Xavi Simons doesn't solve this, in my opinion. Like, you need someone.
I don't think one player can solve the problems we saw today.
Yeah, exactly. What the problem was, and this is why I was a little bit down on Paulinho. I was saying, like, these aren't the games. Like, Paulinho's good, but he's good for certain types of games. Do you know what I mean? He can't play these types of games because we have no one with real technical quality, not with carrying or with passing in that midfield too. The most important part of the pitch. Bentancur and Paulinho, they're brilliant pressers, brilliant, brilliant running stats, dual winners, all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't matter because if you have no one to pass the ball to that has real technical quality, that can look after it, that can help us build, that has vision, that can pick a man out in the... how many times did they just cut through us with a pass? With one simple pass. Do you know what I mean?
It was crazy how easy it was.
Yeah.
And him running in behind as well. Evan Nilsson picking up in the box, just making one run and one simple pass. And I couldn't believe how easy it was compared to last week where City couldn't find any way through for love nor money. We were keeping them at arm's length. They got unbelievable technicians. And today, I don't know, maybe today... Obviously, we're playing Bournemouth, so maybe Frank went for it a bit more. We weren't so concentrated on sitting in that kind of organised mid-block, and we were thinking, okay, home to Bournemouth, let's go at them. Do we underestimate them potentially?
Well, I just think you can't really go at them with that midfield. I'm sorry, with that midfield, and then a left back who's right-footed, which I know no one could do anything about that. I'm not blaming like the selection or anything, but. When you've got Spence and Johnson on the same side, who Johnson can't hold on to the ball, Spence is right-footed, so the angles are off, like when he's making passes from the left and stuff like that. You can't, and then you've got 2 midfielders who can't turn on the ball, like they can't receive on the half turn or anything like that. You're going to struggle, and so if Frank did say let's go at them a little bit because it's Bournemouth or whatever, Bournemouth at home. That's, in my opinion, that's the wrong thing to do because you haven't got the players for it. You haven't got the technical quality for it. Do you know what I mean? This is what happens when you've got Richie and Brennan as your main attackers today, or even Kudus was awful as well. But I'm sorry, there's not enough technical quality between them. We don't have enough technical quality on the pitch today to be playing that way. Probably our best chance would have been literally low block and counter. That probably would have been the way to do it, I think, because you can't press low block. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's what I thought today we were going to try and do, kind of just go long and beat their press in that way, go long to Kudus, Richarlison. But the problem is, they were winning those duels. We weren't going long. Richarlison wasn't winning it. Kudus wasn't winning those duels, and when we were playing it short, Vicario was making sloppy passes. Whenever we played it into midfield, we lost it every time. So it was like whatever we did, it seemed as though we were lost. The stats read the XG, as you were saying, 0.17 for Tottenham. 1.45 for Bournemouth, which is either Well, I thought it'd be higher, to be honest.
0.17.
Yeah, shocking.
That is terrible. That's got to be our lowest XG of any game. For the
We had like a 17% chance of scoring today, essentially, which is ridiculous. 5 shots for Tottenham, 19 for Bournemouth, 1 on target for us, not 6 for them. They had 3 big chances as well. We didn't have a single one. They had 60. We had 62% possession. They had 38. So they clearly came with a plan to give us the ball. And that is exactly what we've been saying. This is what I said after the City game. You know, delighted with Paulinho, Sarr, and Bentancur in that game. Delighted, and they did a brilliant job. But it's not those games where you're going to question them.
Exactly.
It's the middle teams where they're smart defensively, they're smart tactically, and they're going to give you the ball and say, okay, you know, that your pass has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like we were saying to City, and for us that worked because City are going to want the ball, they're going to dominate.
Yeah.
But usually 9 times out of 10 they got the quality to win the game anyway.
Yeah.
But we were asked that question and we had nowhere near the quality. We were so off it. So off it. The only glimmer we had was, I thought, when Bergvall, I know he came on 50. To be honest, he wasn't really doing it maybe up until the last 20 minutes. He started to get into the game in 20 minutes ago. Maybe they were tiring at that point. But after that, he did start to turn them a bit. And we asked a few questions. He had a shot, didn't he? And that was it.
I feel like they just kind of, you know, took their foot off the gas a little bit.
They did, but still he was doing it a bit. You know, he was still the only one trying to get on the ball.
Started 100%.
Yeah,
you know
in hindsight.
how we played Gray and Bergvall against
Burnley.
And I said before the game, didn't I? Oh, I'm not sure about that same midfield. Like, Gray and Bergvall are more progressive than the other midfielders, even if they're not the ideal midfielders. Both of them can play on the half turn to a certain degree, more than Bentancur, Sarr or Paulinho. And for me, when you come up against these middle of the road teams, you can only have one of Paulinho, Sarr or Bentancur on the pitch for me. Honestly, one of Paulinho and Sarr. Like, you do not need more than one of them.
Yeah, and it was frustrating, you know. Half time, we could all see it was going so wrong at half time. You know, Semenyo should have made it 2. They were creating chances. We couldn't get near their goal. We didn't have a single shot at all in that first half.
Yeah.
And he didn't make any changes. He waited for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then he panicked. And then
he was like, screw it. Why didn't I make changes at half time? I think he was thinking. Brought on Bergvall, Odebear, and you have to say, didn't really improve up until maybe the last 10 minutes, where they obviously were settling for the result, wasting time, you know, all that kind of stuff. But the changes didn't help. Odebear didn't have any sort of impact. Bergvall started to, you know, play a bit later in the game, but the changes didn't help the team really. Tell came on, you know, he had that one shot right near the end. But
I'm not gonna lie, look, Tell. And you know, I'm a fan of Tell, and everyone hates Tell because he hasn't been great for us yet. But I'm like his #1 fan. Like, I hope he does well, kind of thing. I actually think he came on and was one of the better ones. I honestly do. He obviously had that chance. You know how he came back and he sprayed the ball out down the right hand side as well. He looked like he was trying. Odebear looked a bit better as well. But to be honest with you, just like Bergvall, a lot of these players should have just been on the pitch. I don't think this is the game for Johnson. You're not going to get... Look how they surrendered possession and stuff. We're not on the break against a big team where it's like high line and all that sort of stuff. Like, this ain't the game for Johnson. And the one thing I will say about today is, obviously, I've got no problem with Frank or anything. I'm not saying that anything needs to happen. He needs time. Everything will... we can't just win every game straight away. But the one thing that did piss me off a bit today was that Frank is known for picking the right profiles for the right game, rotating and stuff like that. Just like how we had Gray and Bergvall versus Burnley, but then we had Paulinho and Sarr versus City. Today, it's clear. If most fans would have said that we didn't need that midfield. So I'm just wondering why he picked it, because like... I hope they ask him after the game, because he's known for picking the right profiles for the right game. And I just think your face City away and Bournemouth at home is completely different. I don't get why he picked the same midfield. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think this was the thing today for me when it comes to Frank and a manager. I'm not, obviously. He deserves criticism because we were just awful today. And that's just reality. When you're as bad as we are today, obviously the manager's going to come under a bit of criticism. Wasn't just, look, I saw the players trying. I know the players were bad, but there was clearly some tactical issues which he wasn't able to sort out today, Frank.
Yeah.
That's by the by. But the issues were what I was worried about before.
Exactly.
This was the questions I had. No, first of all, when you come against these middle teams who ask difficult questions of you, are you going to have the quality? And also, it's all well and good being 1-0 up and you score an early goal like we have done. But even all 3 games he's managed, we've taken the lead and done well to manage the game. But when we're 1-0 down early on and he's asked to, can you break him down? Can you change up your tactics to ask different questions? Do you have the quality in your team to force the issue and put them under consistent pressure? And we failed miserably at that today.
Yeah.
Failed miserably.
Yeah.
And that was look, hopefully it's a learning curve for him today when it comes to learning about his team and learning about what we can and can't do. And I think that's going to happen when you're a new manager, a new team. So obviously you've got to give him a bit of grace. But the reality is, these were the issue. These are the questions I had of him going into this game.
Yeah.
And we got the answer. And the answer was, he is going to struggle. Well, he did struggle when those things happened. Mm-hmm. And hopefully he finds solutions to that. But the worrying for me is, throughout the whole game, there was not even a period where we were getting the advantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There wasn't a 10-15 minute spell where we were proper on top.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, we're going to score here. There was never that feeling throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
And that's even when you watch Brentford, that's kind of you associate teams with at least having, usually in most games, they have a period like that. Even when they get games they lose, they have a period where they're on top. But today we just didn't even have even a 5-10 minute spell where we were really getting an advantage somewhere or really exploiting something they were doing. There was nothing today. We were thoroughly beaten. Look, big up to Vicario, phenomenal display, phenomenal,
and Van der
Ven. Yeah, those two were fantastic today. Give them the credit where credit's due, because I thought the shot stopping from Vicario really stopped it from being a real embarrassment. At the end of the day, it was only 1-0, and we come away with it. Look, it was a horrible performance, horrible defeat, but the record book's only going to show 1-0, so it wasn't too embarrassing from that front. It was thanks to Vicario, because he made some seriously good saves. That one double save was one of the best I've seen. He made that double save from Evan Nilsson, came at his feet, and then I have to see it again. It looked like he tipped it onto the bar from Brooks on the follow-up.
Yeah, he did.
Phenomenal double save from him on that occasion.
How sad is this that the only thing we can congratulate is our saves?
Yeah, that's it. That's the biggest props I can give him, because we had nothing to show for it when it came to chances. Our best chance, I think,
was Tell
or Bergvall when he had it on target. Maybe that was
straight down the keeper's throat, though.
But in terms of actual chance, best chance of scoring a goal, because that would have been a worldie from Tell.
The best chance was probably in the first 2 minutes when
Sarr
played across and
maybe that was it.
And look, I'm telling you now, if we score that goal, it's a different game, because he knows how to manage a goal up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true, exactly. And then it's different. And then Bournemouth, maybe because I don't surrender possession as much as they did, which they did.
This is the issue that a lot of people had with Frank, which is people were unsure how he would do at a bigger club where he will face different kinds of questions. Bournemouth don't go and play like that against Brentford. They don't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And Brentford did the double over them last year.
Exactly.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
And that was Brentford. He's asked different questions at Tottenham than he is at Brentford. No one plays like that against Brentford. You know what I mean? Everyone goes at them.
Exactly.
Even if you're a lower team, it's still an opportunity to get results, isn't it? It's an opportunity to get a win or a point at least.
Look, I think this is going to be a learning curve for Frank, and I'm fine. I'm fine with that, as long as we can actually learn from this, and I see improvements moving forward. I want to see how he reacts to this again when we face Fulham, or when we face Bournemouth the second time, or the other mid-table to lower top half teams. Do you know what I mean?
And that's the question. That's the question I'm going to have until he proves to me that that's not going to be an issue, because those are the questions I had before this game, and it turns out it is going to be a big issue apparently. These kind of games. So. It was worrying how badly we were outplayed today. We were really, really outplayed. It was by no stretch of the imagination. 1-0 massively flattered us, and that should have been really 2 and 3. And we were thoroughly beaten today by a good Bournemouth team, and this is a Bournemouth team who have lost Hyson, Kirkes, Zabrani.
Yeah.
They've lost they lost another one in the front line, I think, as well. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Isn't it 3 out of the
Utara, but I guess it was, not a player they need to lose anyway. Kepa, the keeper, as well.
Yeah.
They've lost a big portion of their team. They've had to rebuild, and they've come to our ground.
Their defenders looked brilliant today.
Senesi was fantastic.
Amazing, isn't it?
Diakite was great. The Truffet.
What's his name?
Bloody Truffet.
Trumpet.
Bloody Truffle. He was fantastic up against Kudus, I thought.
Yeah.
Fantastic up against Kudus. Kudus, he forced him on his right foot every time, and Kudus didn't do anything on his right foot. Weak. Unlike against Burnley, where he was getting some good crosses in today.
Yeah.
Weak. So
Yeah, but they were allowing him to cut back in on his left.
yeah, exactly. That's also true. So big questions. Obviously, look, got Xavi Simons coming in, so that would go some way to addressing these kind of games.
I'm sorry, but how embarrassing is that?
We
having to sit
unveiled him unveiled him in front of the crowd today, and I told you, I said before, someone pointed out, I can't remember what commentator was, there's Sim jinxed it in the preview saying we're going to lose. First of all, that's an opposite of a jinx.
Yeah, that's the opposite of a jinx.
And second of all, I was right in the end.
Did you actually predict a loss?
I didn't. I said 2-1 Spurs, but I said it'll be just classic Tottenham to lose this game. Because first of all, that's another loss before an international break.
Yeah.
We have not won before an international break since October 2023. That's 2 years.
Mad, isn't it?
That's 2 years of games pre-international break we consistently lose. I don't know if it's, are players worried of getting injured before like an international break? Are they already?
I'll tell you what, the energy didn't seem there today.
Yeah.
SAR's usually everywhere.
Are their heads already like in the squad? Like what is going on with that? Richarlison was nowhere near to like he's been in the first few weeks today. And also, it's just classic Tottenham. We have the Eze news and everyone's down in the dumps, and then we go in BC. And then all of a sudden everyone's getting all excited and everyone's happy with the Simons news, and rightly so. Great signing. And it's just classic Tottenham to bring us back down to earth with that kind of performance.
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone's getting ahead of themselves. People were shouting at me after we beat City, we're going to win the league, they were saying. And it's just classic Tottenham to bring us back down to earth today. Ben was going on at me yesterday about, get Simons in, we can get top 4. We can be better than Chelsea. We can get top 4, and then we get back down to earth today. It's just back down to earth.
Like I said at the start, this was a massive reality check, and I hope everyone knows this is not, this isn't a season where we're likely to.
And I think today's proof. Like everyone's I saw I think we were talking to Brains in the chat. He some games we can play Salah on the 10 because Frank will just find a solution. Like everyone thinks Frank's just this magician who can in any situation just adapt to it and adapt to any situation. He's like Darwin from X-Men. He's like adaptable to anything and just adaptable to any situation. So you're going to get unstuck in some situations if you don't all have the complete tools. And I think today was an example of that. So look, reality check today.
Yeah.
International break. We'll go again against West Ham after the international. It's no need to panic or anything. It's just a reality check of where we truly are. And we're going to have Simons in the game.
The game wasn't televised.
Yeah, exactly.
And people will just see 1-0.
And look, I don't know. Look, it's just a reality check about where we are with the squad at the moment. We're going to have Simons integrated. Hopefully, in the next 2 days or so, we get a signing in and we can really improve the squad. But yeah, shocking performance today, and let's just put this behind us.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's it. Look. That was the game. That was your instant match reaction. Let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on the game or anything discussed.